So I'm going to show you guys how we're dealing sort of schematically with these residential AHUs. They are a different family that we're going to load in. I'll probably include it on Canvas just in case you don't have the libraries. But we're going to go to Systems, Mechanical Equipment, and we need to go to Load Family. We're still in the Air Handling Unit folder, but we need to use one of these Air Handling Unit Split System Vertical. So what this will allow us to do is load in a series of small vertical AHUs which have a different orientation, so we can fit them in these sort of mechanical closets we've designated as 5 by 5 foot rooms. We can use probably a 3 or a 5. Either one is probably okay. If you're really pushed for space here, then I would use a 3, but the 5 is still probably undersized. We're just, again, at a schematic level. And these look a little bit different than the other AHUs than we've been dealing with. So you can see I've drawn a section here, and this is a really good way, again, to be able to look at, we'll go into more of the vertical chases in the next video, but to look at the systems that you're placing. There just might be things in front of them, so you can always double check that something's in front of them by changing this to a wireframe. Oh, I can see that. You can change this back to a hidden line, for instance, and then you can tab over. Even if this is in a group, you can always tab over and select that wall, and then you can middle mouse button into this view, and you can hide element, or HH is the hotkey, and now you can see what's going on in this section with that wall that's been hidden. So anyways, let's take a look at this AHU and how it's laid out. So this is a vertical system. It's a split system because the cooling is done somewhere else with another machine, like a cooling tower, and we're sharing that. That's the water side component. There's a coil here, and then what directly comes in is the return. So you can see that comes in at the bottom, and that's typically going to run straight up the back in this closet. The outlet, which is actually the supply, is going to go straight up and then usually run directly into ductwork in the ceiling. And so that's why these are really good for residential like houses or apartments, because they typically take up the same size as a closet, and they can be located either in a garage or in an attic or something. And they don't have to require a lot of ductwork to sort of change their radius. We're going to fudge a couple things here, and what I would do first is go ahead and edit the type and call it something else, duplicate it and call it like Residential AHU. Once you get that done, we need to pay attention to this width 1 and height 1, and then width 2 and height 2. We're probably going to change these both to 2 foot by 2 foot, and that's the first thing that I would do. So I'm just going to change this to 2 feet by 2 feet. This is not 100% crucial, but it will sort of, I think, help you in the end conceptualize things, because you can see the 2 foot ducts change here. So now basically this whole thing is an out for your supply, and the bottom is an in for your return. So what we could do is we could take this out. Let's change this to a medium. And if we go far enough, we can actually create similar here, and we can eventually, you can see that the thing is allowing me to do it. We can create an elbow. But this is not how it would typically be done. It would probably be done with just a duct that taps directly into it. So what I think is better is to sort of move and rotate this so that you can see which way the outlet is coming, and then move it over to a wall. So like I'm just using my arrow keys here, and we can approximate. And this will allow me to fit in a 2 foot duct here that I can run vertical. And I'm going to go over this again in the vertical duct tutorial. But before I do that, you can see that I could just pull this one straight up. And I need to change this again to medium. And that will allow me to have a duct here. Let's take it in 3D. And I can probably duct pretty easily to my supply runs. So 2 foot by 2 foot is probably great, and then you could just have a 2 foot run that it connects into. And then you could probably take it down to 1 by 1 for all of these supply, or you can even use like a flex duct to connect your air terminals for your residential units. But let's take a look quickly at how I would schematically connect this. I would go to duct, and then I would change this to return. And I have to draw in a section, and I don't want to connect to anything. I just want to draw it straight up and down. And that's enough. That's enough for this class. We know that it's essentially at the same location that we need it to be. We just need to move it over in the plan. So this is why it's really good to window your tile your windows, and then move this over. So I can select this. I can use something like the align tool, and I can align that to the back, or I can use the arrows if it's not working out, and just move it into place. And now if we look at our 3D view, you can see that that's essentially our unit, which from far away is probably nice enough. We would probably have a skinnier duct, a flatter duct that would run up the wall, and then it would sort of flex duct into a big grate on the wall here. But this is totally fine. Just rotate it to the direction that you need it. This can face this way or whatever. And then our return, our fresh air is going to duct directly into this. So I'll have a video which will go over return air for both the AHU and the shared AHU and the residential AHU. So I hope that helps with the residential unit AHUs. If you don't have a closet here, it's 5x5, just put it in a corner or in the middle of the unit. It's totally fine. We're going to just have to supply a return system here from like a hallway. So keep that in mind when we're planning things out.